That's right. Another episode of the Toter Tales.
I'm from Oklahoma.
Brought to us by our good friends, ERS Gunite. My boy Tyler Boston, man. 972-935-5769.
We'll get started. Have some fun.
Team roping's been unbelievable. We need to talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Do it.
You want to know a podcast before the podcast?
I love that. Oh, that sound. That sound means only one thing. That's right. Another edition of the Toter Tales coming to you live from Cowboy Christmas. Want to thank all of my friends at the Red Dirt Hat Booth. They gave us a home this week. They said, bring it in here. Let's check it out. Let's see what we got going on. Bring your Toter Tales in here. I got a dear friend of mine. Well, actually, I just met him, but you're a dear friend of my dear friend, Cameron Holt. And I'm going to tell you what, Cameron with Red Dirt, man, he has not led me wrong since college days, since the days he was taking care of me even then. He said, you've got to have my man, Josh Weathers, on the podcast. And I said, bring him on, man. A friend of Cameron's is a friend of mine. So then I started doing some research, man. You're an amazing musician.
Thanks, bro.
You got it going on. Let's talk like we're out here at Cowboy Christmas. We're rocking and rolling. You're on the Toter Tales, brought to us by my dear friend, Tyler Boston, ERS Gunite. Josh, I want to know where are you from? I want to know all about your story.
Yeah.
Let's just start there.
I was born in Arlington, Texas, but I'm from Fort Worth. We live in Burleson, just south of Fort Worth. Have for the last 25 years, probably more than that. And moved around a bunch when I was a kid, but settled back in Texas because we're Texans.
Texas.
Yeah. And met my wife Rodeo in high school, roped calves and team roped in high school, and then started playing music my freshman year of college. Dropped out of college.
Really?
Played music.
So that
ever
late,
since.
like you started playing music.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, I sang a little bit when I was in like school. I had to do like choir and stuff like that. Everyone was obligated to do choir.
Yeah.
But that's when I figured out I could sing. Choir teacher told me you could sing, and then I sang "I Believe I Can Fly" in the in the choir program.
You did?
Yeah, I
Hey,
did.
Is it not with all the grief that R. Kelly's gotten as of late? I mean, I've had to almost go back and take off some of my tracks on there. And that was a beautiful song he came with.
Yeah,
I would love to hear your rendition of it. See, now I need a new I Believe I
You'd
Can
have
Fly.
to dig out a VHS tapes from my mom's.
For those youngsters out there, they don't even know what that is anymore, do they?
No. How old are you?
I'll be 40 next year. I'm 39 right
I'm
now.
a little
You?
older than you. Be 41 this year.
Oh, wow. So we're right the same
Day.
rock and roll. Well, that kind of leads me to my next question because, okay, so as I understand it, you and Cody Johnson, you guys are rocking and rolling there about the same time coming up?
Yeah.
So if any of these facts are wrong, you just blame it on Cameron. That's what I usually
No,
say.
that's pretty accurate. We were right about the same time. He and I were going at it pretty hard.
And are you and Code pretty good buds? Like you guys?
I mean, no, not necessarily. We're
just don't
friendly,
know.
like we know each
Yeah.
other. I roped in that Kojo roping a month ago,
Oh, yeah.
and I saw him there. It's the first time I've seen him in probably 15 years
Oh, wow.
because I stepped away from music for a season, and my wife and I built a nonprofit.
Oh.
And in that time, that's when Cody he
up.
just took off crazy.
Built a nonprofit, you and your wife. Let's talk
Uh-huh.
about that.
It's called Love Like You Mean It International. It's named after a song I wrote. We have 6 kids, she and I.
6 kids.
kids.
Congratulations.
You have any kids? You
I
married?
have 3. I have half of yours, and I feel like I'm doing overtime. You know what I mean?
Once you hit
I got an
3,
8-month-old.
yeah, see, that's a lot.
I was, they call
Yeah.
that we said surprise, they say blessing, you know?
Yeah,
It was one of those, what
yeah,
I'll be.
yeah.
All right, 3 little girls. You got girls, boys?
I got 3
Both?
girls and 3 boys.
Oh, wow. So it's a real fun dodgeball
yeah.
game at home.
Yes. So my oldest and youngest are biological, and then the 4 in the middle are adopted.
Oh, wow.
And we're in the process of adopting our first little girl from India, and took a trip there, and it just radically changed our life. And we decided to, my wife decided that we were going to start a nonprofit called Love Like You Mean International. It's been a crazy ride the whole time. It's been wild. We built a school in India, southern India, and we have 350 students, K through 8th grade
In southern India.
in southern India.
Oh, my God.
So I spent a lot of time there, and we have 3 little girls from India. We ended up adopting 2 more. But yeah, man, it's a radical place. And then we're doing the same thing in El Salvador. Just got led to El Salvador, so we're doing that in El Salvador. But music has been sort of the tool that we use for fundraising for all that. And so now I'm back to playing music full time. The
fun to have.
fundraising never stops. That's the downside to starting something like that, is that you're never gonna not need money. You're always going to need money. And so it's just, that's one of the burdens of starting something like that. But honestly, it's been way too easy. I'll be honest.
Right.
There's been a lot of crazy trials and things that have happened, especially when you're a Christian organization dealing in India. India's not a Christian nation.
Oh.
They don't like it too much that you're there doing stuff like that. So there's been all kinds of threats of kinds, things like that.
But nothing has came to fruition yet. It's all been safe and sound. So,
Yeah, we're rocking and rolling, man.
So then Cameron was telling me a neat story, and I want to hear it from your words.
Okay.
You're on the cusp. It's fixing to happen. It's fixing to break through, and then you put your hand up, like hit that last chord.
Yeah. Put
your arm up in the air. What happens?
I just felt like God told me I was in the wrong place, and that was not an easy thing to hear. And that's the time that I took that step away, was right then. And there was a lot of things happening. Actually, there was a guy that was working with Kojo at the time, a guy named Tim Dubois, and Tim signed Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn, put Brooks and Dunn together. There was Brooks, there was Dunn, and then he was like, "We're gonna make you Brooks and Dunn, and you're gonna take
blow it up."
Yes. I mean, he's a genius.
I mean, how many brush popper shirts you seen today? I've seen 4.
Oh,
I wore one this week.
Yeah. Dude,
They made those popular.
yeah, Wrangler's making them again,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
which is, they should run with that, because
1000%.
yeah, a lot of them other brands are making them, and they're not.
No.
Yeah.
We need a brush pop.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love that. So he says, "Hey, this isn't your spot," but you got Tim Duval, you said?
Yeah. He approached me right at the exact same time. Tim was like, "You're a star, and I know what to do with stars," and he wasn't lying.
And he knows what to do with
He's
stars.
very, yeah. He wrote "Love in the First Degree."
Oh,
He wrote "Bluest Eyes in Texas."
see,
Yeah, dude.
I think I'm so blessed to my passion was in roping, right? So if you have the talent, the discipline, you get hooked up with the right partner.
Yep.
Anybody can be successful. You can
Sure.
see, and I just think the music industry is not that way. You got to have some breaks along the way. You got to
Sure.
have the right person step
Yeah.
in at the right time.
It's very. There's a lot of it has to do with timing,
Right.
and then who you know, because you don't necessarily. I mean, you'd probably agree with me when I say this. The people that make it are not necessarily the most talented.
Yeah, they say like all the little clubs and stuff in Nashville, as you walk up and down the street, they said just how do these people not make it?
Oh, bro! Everyone in Nashville that's serving coffee is a songwriter or singer or performer of some kind.
That's
I mean,
great.
it's just everywhere. So it's very competitive, but it really is just a matter of timing.
So right there's you're coming for your big break, and God says no.
God says no. So I said no, and said no to Tim, and Tim was really kind, like really encouraging, really, really cool. And then the crazy thing is I started earlier this year, I started posting videos of me singing 80s and 90s country songs on Instagram, just because you gotta,
That's where my sister and her friend, they were like, I share all this stuff
I
on
know.
the gram
and
the TikTok.
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Yeah.
You get a lot of exposure that way. There's a lot of good stuff happening.
Dude, you got to do it. You have to do it. It's like if you're going to be a musician nowadays, you have to also be a content creator.
Oh,
There's just no two ways about it. You've got to do it. It's sort of a pain in the rear end. I mean, I'm old school, dude.
Right.
I'm like, let's go write some songs, record them, put out a record, and go play shows.
Yeah.
But that's not enough anymore.
That's not
you
what
have to have some sort of shtick on social media in order to draw the attention. And thankfully, mine it's not necessarily a shtick. It's just something that comes genuine because I love country music. So, it's very easy to do is sing Keith Whitley songs. That's not hard.
So who is your favorite? Like if you're gonna
George
go
Strait.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. In Texas, you
I know,
gotta be,
and he's got to be your favorite too.
absolutely. How many times I drove through the night singing Amarillo by morning? I mean,
Yeah.
Baby Blue.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, all of them.
I like a lot of Chris Ledoux too. I think there's a lot of.
Well, it's the genuineness.
That's what I was gonna say. There's a
Real deal.
connection there
Yeah.
when you're driving across Wyoming in the middle of the night, headed from Salt Lake City back for the slack at Cheyenne, and you
Yeah.
can feel that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're connected there.
You ever
with
won the
song.
Georgia team roping down there?
I did in 2010.
I knew it. I figured. Yeah.
You're a team roper, aren't you?
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. Roped calves and team roped.
Yeah.
Do you get to do any of that anymore? I mean, I'm sure you're just silly busy.
I've got horses. We live on 30 acres, and I've got a whole mess of horses. I don't have anything that's like my only horse that's like finished anymore that I could go if I want to go roping a jackpot down the road. He's got crippled up, so he's not really cut out for it anymore. But I mean, I would do it in a heartbeat. I love roping.
Love roping.
I was eat up with it.
Well, you said it as we went to step on here. How are you guys doing? This is a beautiful part I love this about doing this in Cowboy Christmas.
People
And
watching.
we're out on the aisle, like where people can come in, they say hi, they meet you, let's build a connection here.
That's good for you because I got ADD like a mother, and I'm trying to stay focused. He's just like trying to do this in the middle of Grand Central
It's
Station.
just two of us with ADD. Like this man right here, he's wearing him a riding bulls, punching fools hat. Get your red dirt and we'll start talking more business. I'll give you more than just a hand clap. One thing you said was the team open this week's been incredible. It's
Bro,
fun to watch, isn't it?
It's been amazing.
I
Guys
called
are
it last
off the freaking charts.
No, not me. I mean, I was 4 flat within a half a second of them, and I celebrated like we just won the world. But I felt like, honestly, our team at that moment, we're needing a little bit of enthusiasm.
You're
You know what I
4
mean?
flat.
You need that, like, kind of, hey.
It's
gonna be great.
amazing that, I mean, for how long was 3.8 their arena record? A
Oh,
long
that's
time.
amazing. Yeah, I don't know.
Rich Skelton,
We'll have to
Speed
get
Williams, like that
And
was
then, the original was Doyle Gellerman, Britt Buckus.
yeah.
3.8. That
Bro,
was.
I used to love that.
Oh, he's my hero, man.
Where do you live now?
He was in Florida. I think he spent some time. He goes to the First Frontier Circuit Rodeos up in the Northeast part of the world, up in New York. And then he'll be out in Arizona right now. He's actually, I bet he's in town. He was over at the Tullis and Mac
Yeah,
podcast.
that's cool.
But
Yeah,
sorry,
I mean, but now,
so I'm glad that you're
it's
with
amazing.
me.
Yeah.
that we'll take these adventures on these rabbit trails like this.
Well, it's amazing that like, it's kind of like, Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile, I guess, you know that story?
yeah. And then,
Okay, nobody'd ever run the 4-minute mile, and then this
break
guy does it, and now a high school kid can do it.
Yeah.
But like watching y'all rope, it's like 3.8 was like untouchable for a long time, and then all of a sudden it's like 3.5, 3.6.
we glaze over the fact that Dustin Egaskiza this week was 3.2 plus 5.
That's insane.
That's breaking the world record.
That's insane.
And it's gonna happen. We flirted with it last year on our Crossfire call that night. We were 3-1. And I'm also kind of curious. Sometimes those judges, maybe they have they get a little quicker flag because they're wanting to know, was that a Crossfire? So I always thought maybe we got too quick of a flag on it, but no,
Take
Team
it.
Roman's
Just
amazing.
take it.
Still love the street cred. You know what I mean? But no,
That's bonkers, man.
I got
It's crazy.
So I got to ask you back. So when
Yeah.
God says no, and
Yeah.
you're sitting here with, I don't want to say a sure thing. It's not. There's no such thing as a sure thing.
Yeah.
But you got a great step in the right direction here with this gentleman. You have to turn it down.
Yes.
How much faith does that take? Where were you in your walk in that scenario, in that situation?
Yeah,
and then where does that lead you to?
I was probably at year 3 of following Jesus. So I'm maybe somewhere in there. And, that's when it led us to India. And I ended up on stage in front of 4,000 people a night in India, which was crazy, leading worship at a crusade. Saw the craziest things, bro. Crazy. And
What's the craziest thing?
I saw a lady who was blind, who was not blind anymore. I prayed for this lady and her eyes opened.
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't think you were going to hear that?
No, I didn't. I mean, I thought I was going with, I thought,
I've
I didn't
seen
really know where I was
radical things. Radical. Yeah. So, but, and that changes you,
Absolutely.
bro. I mean, like the reality of the supernatural, that stuff becomes very real. And so it's something I'm always aware of and something I'm always like adhering to because it is real. It's very real.
Especially for,
But yeah, faith. I mean, you don't know where you're going until you get there. That's kind of how.
I bet this guy, and like you said, he handled it so well, but he's got to feel a little bit like, are you kidding
Oh,
me?
bro, was sick.
You know
to
who
death
I am?
about it.
You know what I mean?
Oh, Tim, yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
He's got to feel that way. You
know-
got to be
you
like,
wanna know
I
what's
cannot
funny?
believe.
I saw him about a year later backstage at Billy Bob's.
Yeah.
And he took me over. He's like, I want to introduce you to my wife, Josh. And so I walk over and I meet his wife and he goes, honey, this is Josh. And she goes, hi, Josh. And he says, baby, this is the only man that's ever told me no. Seriously. And she goes, oh, you're that Josh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which was insane for me. I was like, no way. No way.
That's
But,
incredible.
But the amazing thing is, God's timing is perfect. I start posting these videos every day. And that was in January, end of December, January of this year. And you fast forward like 2 months later, I'm on a phone call with a guy. And all that time that Tim was pursuing me, Tim kept telling me, I got to get you up to Nashville. You got to write with my son Chris. You got to write with Chris. And then you fast forward now to a few months ago, I get a phone call from a guy at a publishing company in Nashville. And he asked me, he's like, hey, do you know Chris Dubois? And I was like, man, let me tell you this story. And I tell him the story about Tim and the whole, like me stepping away from music for a season.
So that was just one season you stepped away.
Yes. And so I finished telling the story about Tim. And on the other end of the phone, he goes, wow, that's amazing. Who is this? And I was like, who is this? Who is this? And he says, this is Chris Dubois. And I was like, no freaking way. He was like, JD's been showing me your videos, man. Why don't you come up here and talk to us? So I went up to Nashville in March, and I just signed a publishing deal with Seagale, which is with Tim's son. And, I mean, it's just like a whole circle. It's crazy, bro.
Man.
Crazy. And Chris is no joke, dude. Chris has written 17 number ones.
17.
Yeah. Baby, lock them doors and turn them lights down low. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you should
See, it
probably
doesn't sound like that when I sing that in the showers in the morning. You know what I mean? Like you're just playing around right there. Your voice comes out amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that's so cool. So then, all right, now today, in today's music world, music looks different than it did.
Yes.
You know, growing up, I remember going to Walmart, buying a CD just because I liked one song on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And now
you could actually buy singles and cassette tapes, CDs back in the day. You remember that?
Well, I remember, but I would always end up getting them off of like the mixed tracks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they would do the MTV party jams, baby. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm getting back there way deep. There's some people right now in their car going, absolutely, I know exactly what it's talking about. And there's some
Yes.
kids going, Mama, what's a jock jams?
Yes.
You know what I mean? But music looks different now. And that's
Yeah,
what I've
it
always
does.
wondered, because now I've got my Apple Music. I get on there and I can, any
Mhm.
song I want, it's right here at the touch of my finger. How do you monetize that? Like my big
Ooh.
question is like, with streaming services and stuff, how does all that work for the artist?
It hurts the artist
That's kind of what I figured.
immensely. It's like it changes. Well, it's completely changed the whole how the music business operates. Because used to, I mean, a song, especially for like songwriters, oh my gosh, it's hurt the songwriter to the, I mean, it about put them out of business.
Absolutely. I
You
would
know,
think it would
because-
have to.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at, let's go to Spotify, okay, for a song to generate $8,000, you need 2 million streams.
2 million streams generates $8,000.
Correct.
And that's to be shared with.
Songwriters, artists, whoever owns the master, publishing. I mean, it gets divvied up. I mean, if
It's
you're a
pennies.
if you're a songwriter on a song, your songwriting royalties will end up being on a song that gets 2 million streams. You're probably going to end up with $200, $400.
Wow.
Yeah,
And now let's just reverse that. Let's say we were in the CD era.
you're getting, if you get an album cut, meaning like a song that's not necessarily a single,
But just on the album.
on a record that goes number one. Let's say you get an album cut on a George Strait record. Okay.
That'd be cool.
And that album is the number one album in the country. You just bought your house.
Really? So then I guess that's what I wanted to know, was just in for scope how that all works. So then how are we making it? That's what I want to know, is like, then where does that become?
So it's
Is it
really
the content you're talking
yeah.
about? You're getting out there,
Uh-huh.
people get crazy
Uh-huh.
up with it.
Well, the artist, like myself, the artist makes their money on the road.
Right.
You make
Still
your
got to go
money
do
playing
shows.
blues. Yes, you make your money playing. And there are different avenues. There's ways of YouTube, monetizing YouTube. I'm not really sure how to monetize social media platforms. I got a few 100,000 followers on social media stuff. I still don't know how to make
Nobody's
penny
sending
off-
us checks yet.
Yeah,
That's
I ain't
right.
got no TikTok check. China owns me, but I don't. I don't think
A lot cheaper than I thought I was
Yeah,
going to be.
exactly.
Turns out I do it for free. I mean, honestly, I baited him in here with some Five Guys
Yeah,
cheeseburger.
he gave me
You
half
know,
a
and he got to
cheeseburger.
sit-
Yeah, that's it.
So it feels like a pretty good raise today. I gave you half a cheeseburger. I haven't offered you the milkshake yet.
Yeah, we're good. Dollar.
That is kind of how the world is moving, though, isn't it? It's crazy how the landscape has changed a lot just in our generation.
Yeah,
And I hate to say that, because it's like, man, I don't feel like we're that old, but
it's changed a lot, dude.
and it happened fast. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean that was high school. We were burning CDs.
Right, Napster.
Yeah,
Was that the deal? Napster back in the day.
that ruined it all.
Yeah, little
Now,
Troy want to be a
okay,
baller. I remember
so-
that one being the big dog in our FFA class.
Little Troy. Oh, wanna
Wanna
be a
be
baller?
Yeah.
I listened to that going to rope.
And cranked him back. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, I cranked him back.
Did you ever rope calves?
I did in high school. You know what's funny is I was, I'm going to say I was before my time, Josh. I was a guy that I brought smoke, and my
Okay.
horse might end up right back in the box. Everybody told me for years I needed to learn to run closer, set it up, and try all that. And I did. I roped calves all through college.
Yeah.
Some circuit rodeos. I had a really good horse. Actually, the roan horse my dad bought me when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And I junior rodeoed. I mean, everything that horse and I we did together. And rode him through a very lucrative college career. And
Yeah.
then I ended up riding him here at my first national finals. And I got to ride him 3 times out here. But he was exceptional in the calf roping. I lost him. Then it's like I really wanted to rope calves, but I don't have a horse. And then I
Yeah.
roped calves last year at the Indian national finals, and I sprained my ankle. So I think until I go back
What about do you rope at the Time to Bent Champions?
Man, so I go help, and that's been the big deal. Is I want to put my name down and try to enter. And I'm not going to do it this year because I want to. I'm obligated to help Russell Cardozo and Jess Tierney, and I want to fulfill my obligations with them. And I want about a good year and a half, like to get with my buddies and really learn how to bulldog and get it on, because it's an Oklahoma event. You know, I think it's just like anytime,
do that.
kind of like that Texas pride. Like, you know, we're gonna move back to Texas Tech. Like, I'm an Okie.
Yeah.
I do love about our company here, Red Dirt, is it flows well. Whether you can be a Texan, we all got red dirt, and we all got red dirt in us, you know. Sure. But I just, the same way that you feel about Texas, I feel about the Time event. Like, I want to go. That's an Oklahoma rite of passage, if you will. You know. But yeah, so I'll be back roping Kev's in. Back
Dude,
to
steer tripping is the nuttiest.
It's the greatest event. I swear, if you ever do it, it's the hardest thing to quit. I'm telling you, it's
really
terrible. It's so much like golf. Like, you're like, this is stupid. I pay money to cuss this much. This is terrible.
Yeah.
And then you hit that one good drive, and you're like, what time's the tee time tomorrow?
I bet
that's
you'd be
exactly
you're probably pretty good at that.
At what, steer roping?
Yeah.
Man, it has kicked me in the tail. I started 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I missed the finals this year, but I tell you, it's the hardest event to learn to win at.
Yeah.
It's a very cowboy classic. Got to learn when to hit the gas, when to pull on the brake. You know what I mean?
Who was your favorite like calf rope when you were in high school?
So when I was in high school, the
guys you used to watch on the NFR.
So that was, I would go to the gym just to watch those. Those are back in the days of like Cody and Fred, them big matches.
I just saw Fred downstairs, and I've never met him, and I was too scared to talk to him.
You're kidding me.
No.
He was my coach at the Kid Rock Rodeo. I actually got to hang out with him the other day. We actually gave him an award. Judy Wagner, they did a documentary on her life deal, and she gave him an achievement award deal that was really neat. The good job, or nice job, cowboy award. But anyways, I used to love those Cody Old, Fred Whitfield matches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like those were just like heavyweight battles going. I was in high school.
7 flat, 7-1-6-9, and they were just.
And then now, I tell you what, one of my favorite, probably one of my favorite runs I've seen ever, Haven Medjed 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
13-8 at the back end on 2 loops.
Yeah.
See, I was doing that. I was doing that from the heel box. Like, my horse would be in the box and I'd be 13-8, but nobody was bragging about it then. I should have taught to tell everybody. I said, man, I was just too much ahead of my time. But my horse was really good. Jerome Schneeberger won second at Pendleton on him one year.
Really?
The year I won the straight on him. I won the straight on him.
What part of Oklahoma is he from? He was from
Ponca City.
Ponca City, that's right.
Ponca City. Yeah, so Schneeberger. I get to see him every year when I go out there to Ponca City.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I loved it. Was rodeo in the 90s was spectacular.
Absolutely.
It was really, really
So then you were a calf rope.
I used to sit and watch it. I would videotape it on ESPN.
Oh.
I would sit with a camcorder and videotape it so that I could like watch it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's happening? Good? Good to see you today. I love it. That's what I love about this experience, man. It's
awesome.
So you were a calf roper. You was probably a Mo Betta guy, huh? You probably had some Mo Betta swag, didn't you?
I watched the Mo Betta tapes.
Didn't you? Yeah, you did.
I never wore the collarless shirts.
They had their own style.
I didn't do that.
That body was awesome.
I saw Zach Top wearing one of those the other day.
Really?
He was wearing a Mo Betta shirt with no collar on it. I was like, that is straight 90s right there.
Hey, what do you think? Okay, I do want to go, like, so you're like a classic country type guy. And so I had never, I'll be honest, I don't get to keep up with like all the newest songs.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is a big, like when you're scanning TikTok, you're scanning Instagram, that's where you're kind of finding your new singles. And there's so many algorithm stuff. Like my niece has just started doing my TikTok stuff, putting videos on there, and she's making stuff go viral. She's like, because it's all about using certain songs that are on the doing this. I mean, there's a whole
you got
like a science experience.
Yep.
Well, the other day I watched Shabuzi for the first time. And my wife was like, man, I just don't think country when I see that guy. And I said, you know what? That's great. Like, I love Shabuzi. I love Post Malone coming over. You know what I mean?
You know what's fun? I met both of those guys at Billy Bob's.
And they, I mean, like you telling me like Shabuzi, he probably grew up like a lot of us listening to Tupac and everything else, and then finds his heart in country. And then look at the crowd he's leading. It feels like a great chance for everybody to kind of do this. Just we all love each other again. You know what I mean? Because it feels like we've been divided a long time. And I feel like when we have stuff like that, like when you start seeing Beyonce dress up in Western, it's like that's great, man. That's unifying for a lot of
it's pretty apparent that country is like the coolest thing there is.
Great way to put it.
And I think that's, you know why I think that is? I think the music industry is seeing it because the country people were the last people to join streaming. Okay? Think about it. Up
That
until
makes sense.
maybe 3-4 years ago, if your mom, dad, or they liked the song, guess where they did? They went to Walmart and
bought
went
the
to go
CD.
try to find it on a CD. Well, they can't. That's impossible now. You're not going to do that anymore. And they don't even make cars with CD players in them anymore, right?
Absolutely.
You buy a new pickup, there's no CD player in it.
Yeah, I bought
You
it.
gotta-
I got a new trailer built by Signature Living Quarters. Welcome home to Signature. And it didn't have a DVD player on my deal. I'm like, how am I going to watch my Hort Dog tapes?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So now that those people don't have access to physical music, right? CDs, stuff, they go stream it. Well, I think the world has realized that there's a lot more country folks than they realized.
right.
There's a lot of us.
lot.
There's a whole bunch. And that's why you got like, what's up, man? That's why
We
like
got Josh Weather fan just everywhere out here, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to describe the scene. They are just backing up around us.
But like, I mean, Morgan Wallen can sell 30,000 tickets in a field in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
That's crazy.
And so that's where people have realized that country music is the biggest thing there is, and it's outdoing hip hop. It's outdoing them all.
Yeah.
I mean, outdoing them all. You got guys like Zach Bryan and Morgan Wallen, Cody Johnson. These guys are filling arenas and stadiums and all kinds of stuff like that.
George Strait.
George Strait, yeah, still
Still.
doing it.
Which one did he sell out the other day? I seen it was the most
Right
ever,
here.
right?
Well, you talking about the thing down in Aggieland Station?
Whenever he sold out the football stadium.
Yeah, set the record. Yeah, yeah, him and Parker McCollum.
I watched him perform the other day on the was it the CMAs the other day?
Uh huh.
got to
Really
see
good.
Guys,
Honky
man,
Tonk Time Machine. Chris Stapleton wrote that song.
that's what somebody had said.
Yeah.
Who wrote? Okay, I want to know who was the actual writer behind Amarillo by Morning.
You know, I
I've
need
had
to look
conflicting-
because that was so that song Chris Ledoux recorded that song before George did.
Before George did, but
Yes.
I always kind of thought
We're gonna find that
Chris
together.
wrote it. But I think what the actual deal is, how's it going today? Never bad, baby. Always blessed. Good to see you guys. How
And
you doing?
morning, I say Whitey Schaefer.
Josh
but I
Weathers.
don't think it's Whitey Schaefer.
But I heard so maybe that like Chris.
Harry Stafford and Paul Frazier, two guys that wrote Amarillo by Morning.
Man, I want to know those guys' story too. Like when you come up with a song that great,
That
tells the
song was
story.
buried. That song was like, and George was just playing it on the road. Like he was playing it every night in honky tonks when he was touring in the early days. Because that's on his second record.
I do want to say, you said the word honky tonks. I do think that one day when we track the downfall of our civilization, it's going to be the way we stopped using the term beer joints. You know what I mean? Think about that.
Yeah.
Like when I hear Brand New Man the other day and I hear Brooks, like as we were at the Hondo
Yeah.
and we got to see Brooks and Dunn live, never seen him before.
Dude.
And they say beer joints.
Yeah.
And I say, there it is.
Yeah.
That's what this world's been missing.
Yeah.
So anyways, he's playing it in the honky tonks or the beer joints.
Yep. He goes and make his second record, and he's like, I got this song. It works every night we play it. We oughta
Because
just
he's
cut it."
getting feedback from live
Yeah.
people.
That's the same thing that happened to Alan Jackson, Chattahoochee. I think I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Tim Dubois, who's the guy I talked about earlier, fought him on that pretty hard.
Really, like
That
to
he
not
thought
record
that
it.
was silly. This is silly. And he was like, well, it might be, but I'm telling you, I play it every night. People go bananas.
How hard is that to not lose your identity? Like when you walk in a recording studio and you have a panel of guys here that you respect all of their opinions so much. And a lot of your future, honestly, quite frankly, I would
Sure.
think would be a lot in their hands.
Yeah.
So then when you walk in there to not lose who Josh Weathers is,
Yeah.
the same guy that like you're saying right there, we get feedback from these people. This is
Yeah.
what's working. This is because I do feel like that is something I always try. You know, I did the church service the other day and I told my wife, it's a lot about reading the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I am funny. I think humor has been something that's really helped me reach people.
Yeah.
And it's helped me
Yeah. Me too.
better
Sure.
myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do think there's times to be serious and then to be
Yeah.
reading the room is extremely important.
Yes.
So how hard is that as
Artist.
an artist, musician to keep
You got a bunch of
yourself-
influence, like people telling you what to do,
Absolutely.
kind of thing. You know, I don't know. I don't know how. If I was a younger man, it might be
Right.
harder.
It's
No.
nice we're getting closer to 40 sometimes. isn't it?
When you hit 40, dude, something happens. You'll see too. Because when you hit 40, it's like your give a crap like goes way out the window.
It's
like
just-
what people actually think, you're just gonna do you, and that's it. And it's interesting how it happens. Something happens right around that time. And but you know, I'm a team player. I like to hear people's input and
Right.
influence, but at the end of the day, I got to put my name on it.
That's the big part.
You don't have to put your name on it. I got to put my name. So if it's going to be me, then it's going to be me. It's not going to be me with your opinion on it. It's going to be me. I may take your opinion
It may
and
not
use
be
that,
It's
but
not going to be Josh Weathers under the influence of Coleman.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. And it's not an easy thing to do. Sometimes as an artist, that's kind of a fight. And I'm not signed to a major label or anything at this point. That could happen.
You get to be
Yes.
what you want to be.
Yes. And then there's been conversations with major labels and things like that. But, I think that's the way the music industry works now is they actually want you to be unique. They don't want you to be cookie cutter because they're seeing that, like you trying to be somebody else, it doesn't do. When these labels sign somebody because they sound like so-and-so, the so-and-so still does really well. I mean, you as the guy who got signed because you sound like Morgan Wallen, I mean, you're just like a copied version. It's just
He's
silly.
a great value version of Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, exactly. You're the Morgan Wallen at home. You're that guy. Have you seen that movie Multiplicity? You remember that?
Oh yeah,
with Michael
Absolutely.
Keaton. Okay,
Great
that's
movie.
what happens in the music business to me.
And they get
By the end of it, they're like, I like Pete the Thief. They're like that guy. Yes. And it just becomes these watered down, dumb versions of something that was great. But I think the music business is getting wise to that. They're moving away from it. And they're just looking for people that are hopping. I mean, that's one thing about social media is that major labels and companies, they don't necessarily want to develop someone.
Oh yeah, they're looking.
They
for the
want you
hot
to
ticket.
already have the thing going, and then they just pour gas on the fire you already
They
got.
just bring you and all your
Yes.
followers with you.
Yes.
That's where the content
Yeah.
comes. It's amazing.
I think, and sometimes that's probably not healthy
I can see that too.
because people's trajectory goes straight up and then just slams straight into the ground. Because once you're hot for a minute, I prefer like a slower. Yes. You look at a guy like Kojo, right? That's been a long time coming, dude.
Yeah, he's been great.
It's been a long time coming, and that's why he's kind of got like Cody is like moving into like legend territory. He keeps putting out great records. I thought years ago, I thought, man, I just don't know if there's ever gonna be who's gonna be in the Country Music Hall of Fame someday. Who's gonna be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Because it's like record companies and the public doesn't give people time to become a legend. You put out one record and it goes great, and then your second record doesn't do well, and they forget all about you. You're dropped from the label, like all that stuff, and they don't give people time to like fail. And you know what I'm saying? Like
and to become great.
Yeah, but I mean the reason George is a legend is because he's been putting out music consistently for 40 years, dude.
Jeez.
Since 1982, 81, 82. So 40 some odd years, he's been putting out music every year, and not every single record was mind
Top
blowing.
shelf.
Yeah, might have one single that did well, off of a record, but like they just kept going until 1992 puts out Pure Country, and it's like, boom, biggest thing in the world again. George is like on top of the world again. Yeah. And so I'm like, the record, and he's been with the same label, MCA Records, since 1981.
Wow.
Stuff doesn't happen.
And he was fixing to be a FFA teacher.
He was,
Before
dude,
he got his
no, bro,
big
he
break.
was. I have a buddy at home.
Okay, this is what I want to know.
Okay, I have a buddy at home that swears up and down. He was like, George Strait was my ag teacher in San Marcos. True story.
This
Yes.
is Coleman Proctor. How are you? This is Josh Weathers, by the way. Very nice to meet you. All right, yeah. Sheens, family Sheens out there in Laramie, Wyoming. Beautiful. Where the wind blows, Josh. I don't know if you've ever played there. This is Josh Weathers. We're just having this little Toter Tales action right here.
Great to meet you.
The Red Dirt Hat booth.
Yeah.
That's what happens. We get
Yes.
to mingle with the folks. We get to see everybody. Come wave. You gotta come wave with the camera so they don't think we just got distracted. You gotta come wave with the camera and let them know. See, there you go. Now get a picture. Get a picture of us doing the Toter Tales. You get a picture of us doing the Toter Tales. Here we go. No, you gotta get in here.
Betting on you every night.
Well, thank you. So have we.
Double down.
honestly.
Tonight's the night.
I hear you'll hear a lot of that. Like, man, you're on my fantasy team. Let's go to picking it up a notch. And I'm like, oh man, I'm on my reality team.
I'm dropping a coin to be here,
I
bud.
got a little girl that is so ready to get into a limo because that's our deal. We win the round, we take a limo, we go buy In-N-Out Burger, we head to the buckle ceremony, and she is so mad. Like the first night, she's like, I'm just so disappointed in you. She's 7. And I said, okay, what happened? And she's like, well, you did not win. And I said, baby, I won 3rd. She's like, yeah, but you didn't win 1st. And I'm like, well, babe, I mean, I still won money.
Yeah.
Okay, how much money? And I was like, 20,000. okay. And then just walked off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And then when I missed in round 3. And she threw a fit. She started bawling hysterically.
Really?
We haven't had that reaction yet.
So your kids, are they into rodeo?
You know, they like it.
I know your 8-month-old that's verdict's out.
She loves it though. The rodeo.
Really?
Yeah, like my oldest one doesn't love the fireworks, doesn't love all that. So she'll run around, but she loves watching.
You have 3 girls.
3 girls. Wow. I'm really good at doing hair in the morning. I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do it. And my middle daughter, she loves it. She's kind of wilder. She'll go get on her pony. She'll go a little faster. She'll go to the pasture with you, help you gather cattle and stuff.
Yeah.
She said the other day she wants to run barrels and breakaway rope. That's one thing I think is so cool is like now with breakaway rope getting so big, like now my kids get something really great to look at.
Yeah.
Example wise coming up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I played that Kimes Ranch $1 Million Breakaway the other day.
Wasn't that something?
In Scottsdale.
We were sitting there eating dinner at Los Cocos Mexican restaurant, Salina, Oklahoma. Try the Coleman's Proctor special when you walk in. Always trying to make $1, Josh. You know.
Yeah, I got
it. We were sitting there watching, and it's on CBS. And my daughter's like, "Look at this, Dad. Breakaway roping." I'd never heard her say that like that to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, there it is. There's a chance for like now my little girls have something. I had great role models growing up, you know, and I'm sure you did too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And great role models, I think, are the only reason why I survived it and made it this long.
Yeah.
But back to our good buddy here, San Marcos, George Strait, his ag teacher.
Yeah, that's what he said. George Strait was his ag teacher in 1981, and then he moved in. He didn't move to Nashville. He's never lived in Nashville.
But he made it.
But he got signed to MCA Records and was like, well, I'm going to go make a record. And went and made Straight Country, and then the rest is history.
Imagine going to the FFA National Convention and be like, hold on, guys. Mr. Strait, sir, we'd like to really stop at Whataburger if that's all right this time on the van. Mr. Strait, I can't fix the end of my speech here that I'm fixing to give. Could you imagine, like, having to recite the FFA creed to George Strait?
Well, you know what? I don't think you'd think anything of it if he wasn't George Strait.
That would be awesome. Or like those classes that had him and then he becomes George Strait.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
cool.
cool.
Everybody has a past, man. So we were just talking about great mentors. Who were some of yours growing up?
I had a handful. My dad was pretty influential in my life. He was pretty, he gave me drive. He made me work hard. And, you know, it's funny. I started rodeo in high school. And my dad, he didn't know squat about rodeo at all. But he would make, hey, you're going to rope the dummy 100 times before the sun goes down. I mean, you're not coming in the house. So I had, and if I didn't ride my horse enough that week, and then he was on my tail. And, you know, the thing is even in those days, you know, this was like late 90s, you still had to have you had to be mounted to compete, especially in Texas, Region 3. It was tough. You know, Texas rodeo was no joke. And there were guys that are like, you know.
That you watch out here.
Yeah. I mean, I bought a horse from Jared Hofstetter, you know, and Hofstetter went to the finals a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
It was Cash Meyer's horse in high school. That was a horse I roped on in high school.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, these guys were tough as boot leather, man. And my dad was a big influence. The guy that taught me how to rope was a guy named Ross Sherman, and Ross taught a bunch of us kids in North Texas how to flank and tie and how to do it right.
Get after.
Yes.
Isn't it funny how, like, even though rodeo wasn't something that you pursued, and I tell kids this all the time, find your passion, find it early.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't matter about, you know, keeping track of your hours.
It's funny that, you know, those years that I roped and rodeoed and pursued, I was eat up with it. I was eat up with it and wanted to do it all the time. And I'm grateful for that. Even though I don't like do it now or pursue it, I can sit here and have a conversation with you you do it professionally. And we can have like a conversation about what the heck I'm talking about.
We have a connection.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing with golf. I love golf. And, you know, it makes you a well-rounded person. I think everybody know how to ride a daggum horse.
And then you take that drive, you take that work ethic you're taught at an early age.
Yes.
And then you put it with your music, and now you're starting to see.
Yeah. I mean, very competitive too. I mean, people talk about art not being competitive, and I'm like, what a load of crap. It is very competitive. Somebody has to be somebody's best. Right. So you might as well work to be as many people's best as you can.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's our signature living quarters moment right there. Because I always like to have one moment to me, this is about talking to 12-year-old Coleman Proctor.
Yeah.
Right. To tell him, hey, buddy, here's what you're going to have to remember. And I think you hit it right on the head there. I want you to say that again. You have to be I
don't know. That was right off the top of the dome.
That was beautiful. That needs to be a lyric.
Yeah.
You might as well try to be the best.
Yeah. To as many people as you can, you know, because even the guys, like when we're talking about like, who was your favorite rodeo growing up, my favorite guy to watch And I would tell him in a match roping, I'd put him against anybody. Was Brent Lewis.
Oh yeah,
Dude, he's a freaking hand. He's
So
a
much
cowboy.
try.
Like I'd be like, I'd put money on him in the double mugging, the team Rogan, and I mean, he was just still is.
They said it was one heck of a match, but he roped this year at the Cinch Roping Fiesta in San Angelo.
San Angelo, yeah. Brent
And
Lewis roped.
Yes,
the match.
he matched. Who did he match? Is it Ricky Hyde, Ricky Kenton?
Oh yeah,
One of the Rickies?
didn't he string from his belt, Ricky Hyde?
Oh, I thought that was Bud Ford. That's the only one I
Bud did. But I roped with Bud because Bud
Ryan
from Mansfield.
Ryan Jarrett went from the deal?
I'm
Oh,
thinking he used to string from their belt.
Ryan Jarrett. That's the only one I can remember.
Oh, no, there was the I swear Ricky Hyde did, but
He
there
might
was
have.
who was the kind of heavier set dude? He won the world once from Louisiana in the 90s.
Louisiana,
Come on.
90s calf roper. Boy, we're going to have to get some Hanchy on that. Google it. Smartphone that. In
I
the words
hate-
of Caleb Twisman, smartphone that.
Come on. Oh, her.
You almost had it right there. Louisiana
Uh-huh.
champion. There's 47 people in their cars right now saying,
They're
here's the
screaming.
answer. Here's the answer.
Okay.
Terrio.
Yeah, Herbert.
Herbert Terrio.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, I swear he did.
I don't know if that's, we're going to fact
Google
check.
it. Just find a video of
I
him.
tell you what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. I got a better idea. We're not going to Google it. We're going to call Marcus because Marcus will know.
Okay,
Marcus-
but there was somebody in the 90s that used to go to the NFR all the time, and he strung from his
the
belt. Yes.
I love this. These are live phone calls we're making. That's Marcus Terrio. See if he's going to answer. Marcus. Hey, buddy, I got you on the Toter Tales live right now. I just want to know, did your dad string from the belt when he roped kids? Who in the 90s went to the NFR and strung from the belt? That's
No,
what
I know
said.
that. I know Bud, but there was another guy. It was a white guy.
There's a white guy stringing from the belt in the 90s. That's what that was my original thought too, right there. I got Josh Weathers on here. Check his music out. Where do we find your music, Josh?
Everywhere you can find music.
Everywhere you can find music. Check out some Josh Weathers. All right. Thank you, Marcus, for always answering the phone and being a good friend of the Toter Tales. See you, buddy.
That's funny.
I think he only answered because I agreed to let him borrow a steer roping horse at the timed event. I think he was worried I was maybe calling to repo it or anything. To rescind the offer.
What? I'm looking, dude, because this is going to drive me nuts.
I love it.
I need-
I love it though, and I think these are the great conversations, like the GOAT conversations. You know, when you start talking about who's the greatest of all time in each event, and even though there's not really probably ever a right answer because you could always argue another point, it gets conversation started, and I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need in our Western world. And honestly, quite frankly, that's just what we need
Yeah.
in life, in our world. Period. You know, I think
Yeah.
you saw a lot of that this year with the election. And kind of a lot of guys, a lot of this country is just kind of like, hey, we're tired of all the nonsense and games. Let's all
Yeah.
be friends and family and love
Yeah.
each other. And
I think people just want to have a normal freaking life.
right, the last 4 years have been.
I don't want to.
Since I say like 2020, you know what I mean? That put us all on our shelves.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, it was kind of like, when is this gonna be?
Were you in? Did you rope in Arlington?
No, that was actually I missed the finals that year. It was my first year to get to actually host.
Bring it up.
You know what's great though, and I love bringing it up honestly because you tell me if I'm wrong or right. All of my biggest opportunities have come from what I thought were failures.
Yeah.
Like when I missed the finals and I did not come out here in 2018. That was my first chance to come to work for the Cowboy Channel. Got on TV, kind of got some good stuff rolling out of that.
Yeah.
That turns into 2019, we win the American. And I win $500,000 there because if I, you know what I mean, I was a qualifier. And then when I come back on 2020, we missed the finals. Well, then that led to me getting to host the Purina pregame show. I still do that on the steps of the Thomas and Mack every day. Catch us at 4:00. Me and my dear friend Luke Branquino.
I
But
woke
it
up
led to it just keeps leading to bigger opportunities. Now that's became a much bigger opportunity for me. So it's like every time a guy thinks like, oh, I failed,
Yeah.
you don't know what's around the corner. Like you don't know what's coming. You
Sure.
don't know what's coming because of.
Well, yeah. I mean, that kind of speaks to this generation needs to learn how to fail.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
They need to learn to be bored,
yes.
quite frankly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
When did you pick a guitar up? When you got bored,
Yeah. When I was 19,
right?
found a guitar in a buddy's garage.
And you started, okay, so I want to know, does that,
Mhm.
I've tried to learn to play the guitar so many times. I want to play it so bad.
Yeah.
And I just
It
not
just
something I
takes
can never stick with.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't.
Did it come natural?
Yes.
Like you just picked it up
Yep.
and you start kind of,
Yep.
like
Yep.
me, I'm going over there like that's a G. The fingers go there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had to do that too.
But it came.
Sure. But
It's
it
like-
just sort of, it came quickly enough that I don't remember having to do that very much. My son is 14, my biological son, and he He just picked up guitar, and
Wow.
bro, he can shred.
Isn't that fun?
He's been playing about a year, and he can probably play 30 songs.
I bet that's special for like a dad and a son. To
And
kinda just
and I haven't told him squat because I'm
hang
a
out.
terrible teacher. Oh my gosh, I'm just the worst teacher. I couldn't teach somebody to do nothing, dude. I'm real bad about it. I'm just bad. My wife hates it because if I try to teach her to do something, she's like, "I'll learn it on my own because you're the worst teacher." I am. I admit
Right.
it. Because I'll just be like, "Here, just let me show you," and that's not how you teach somebody how to do something. Yeah, he just gets on YouTube, dude.
just gets it after.
Gets on YouTube.
So that's what my kids, I think all the time, which don't get me wrong, we're bad to let them have their tablets too much. We're bad to do this and that.
Sure.
Got to get comfortable being bored. We got to get that spark, that creativity in them.
Yeah.
Get some imagination. Well, man, I know you're really busy.
No, dude,
week,
it's
and I
fun.
want to say thank you so
Yeah,
much for
enjoyed
taking
this.
the time.
Yeah.
I'm a Red Dirt man. You're a Red Dirt
Yeah.
man. Rep
Right.
them Toter Tales hats now that you've been on there one
Yeah,
time.
come on.
You know what I mean? So where can we catch your shows if we're in Vegas this week?
Tonight's my last night.
Okay, so
Tonight's
you're
my
here
last
tonight?
night. Yeah, the Cowboy Corral over in the
Cowboy
Cox
Corral.
Pavilion.
That's awesome.
Right next
Has
to
there been a
Thompson.
big crowd over there?
Yeah, it's been great every night, dude.
Really?
Every night. We do before and after the rodeo, so we do like a 4:45 to 5:30, and then right after the rodeo, 8:30 to 9:30.
Here's what I want you to do though. Before you do leave, you're going to get my phone number so that when you think of who you thought strung from the
I'm gonna
belt
find
and
out,
brought it,
dude.
then you're going to be
I'm
able to
telling
text
you,
me.
bro.
And
I can see it.
your next year you are coming to Born and Raised, about 4 miles from my house.
Yes.
So here's what we do: you just holler at me next year when you're headed that way. I'll have the horses saddled.
Let's go.
You know what I mean? We'll
Let's
just
go.
tell them over there. Say, hey guys, we're going to take 5 here for a minute.
Yeah.
We need to run a pin real quick.
Yeah.
We need to just kind of.
You know what I want to do?
relax.
I'm playing Billy Bob's in March.
You bet.
Bingham did it one year, and I want to go rope over at Cowtown, and then just go
walk
straight
on
in.
over.
Oh,
Bring
How
smoke.
boss is that?
That's doing it, ain't it? Just step off, and that is so awesome. Well, man, I thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
That's a
Thank you,
powerful
man.
message, man. Follow
Yeah.
your heart, do it.
Yeah.
Listen to God, because sometimes we don't want to agree with Him, and sometimes we don't want to follow it.
Yeah, man.
But would you say it's been the best decision in your life?
Without a doubt.
Second to none.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be alive. Probably. You know what? If things would have went the way I wanted them to, who knows if I'd be married? Who knows if I'd have the kids I have? I wouldn't have the stories I have. None of that would have happened.
I left the church service the other day, and I told him, I just said a quick prayer to say, thank you, God, that my only talent wasn't with this rope,
Yeah.
that you gave me more purpose than that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
And then it takes a lot of weight off your shoulders,
Yeah.
quite frankly.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, because it at the end of the day, back to like identity. You were talking about identity. Like if all I am is a singer, then what if I can't sing tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah. What if you can't pick up a rope tomorrow? Like who are you? I mean, I had to go through a season of life where I had to figure that part out. That way, I think the Lord did it just because, if that ever did happen, it wouldn't be the end of my life.
Right.
But it's hard to think about it. I don't want that to happen.
I tell people all the time, I think the hardest thing for me to think of moving forward, what am I going to be passionate about? I've been passionate about roping my whole life.
Yeah.
Every day when I go home and I wake up, as soon as we get home, after the holidays, we're going to wake up, and my goal will be to be the best header today that I can be.
Yeah.
Right. I have purpose. I have drive.
Yeah.
And it scares me when that's not there anymore. You see a lot of people not handle that well.
Yeah.
What do we replace that with? What's the next thing I'm passionate
Especially in
about?
rodeo, dude. You've seen a lot of those guys in the rodeo world who are unbelievable, and now I see them sitting at the cow sale, like just lost as a ball in tall grass.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That's powerful stuff, man.
Yeah.
So anywhere we can get your music, anywhere we can download it.
Yep. Spotify, Apple.
Any big tours coming up? Anything fun we're going to be doing here for too long?
I mean, National Final. This was a big deal. This was fun.
Absolutely.
This has been a great week. What's up, man? Chancey Williams.
Hey, Chancey Williams, get over here, Chancey. Yeah, I got a guest star right here.
Just walking around.
Just walking around.
I love it, man. I'm gonna have to have you on, Chancey. I've been trying to come see the South Point.
Okay.
Chancey been playing the South Point whenever they
See,
Good to see
rodeo got too. Real
right.
deal.
It's a connection, ain't it? Well, don't quit picking, baby. Don't quit picking.
See you,
So
buddy.
Chancey, he's been playing the South Point. So when you go down there and get your buckle, you can go see him. Turns out Tyler Wade's gotten front row seats for like 3 rounds in a row.
Hey, Tyler Wade follows me on Instagram, by
That's
the way.
awesome. Hey, shout out to
Tyler
Tyler
Wade.
Wade. Shout out to the 3 Wade for following my dear friend here. Well, man, I appreciate our time today. Thank
Hey,
you so
Bro,
much.
thanks for having me.
You have an amazing
course.
story. I'm a huge fan now.
Yeah,
Like
thanks, bro.
I was a fan because I liked your music before, but I
Yeah.
love getting to meet the people. I
Yeah,
like getting
sure.
to see what's behind
Thanks,
it.
man. Yeah,
That's awesome. So,
Same.
man, we wish you all the best of luck.
thanks, man.
And for everybody else out there, man, this is Coleman Proctor with my dear friend Josh Weathers
Come on.
saying it's never a bad day to make somebody else's day just a little bit better. Goodbye, everybody.
Adios.